And then change legs. If you've just joined, sorry, I hope you weren't waiting too long for me to let you in. Well done. And then side to side. So really try and get your leg across your body and out to the side as much as you can comfortably. And then change legs. Well done. Good, and then we're going to go back to some jogging on the spot again. This time I want you to think about bringing your knees a little bit higher. So higher knees. And you might want to just drive your arms a little bit more to help you. And then with some heel kicks next. So heel into your bum. Well done. These are so difficult to do on the spot, aren't they? They're so much harder. Good. And then walk out into a thoracic rotation. So you can walk out with bent legs, out into a straight arm plank, drop one knee to, both knees to the floor, take one leg forward, and then do about 10 thoracic rotations. I'm moving relatively quickly with these this morning. And then both hands back to the floor, take your leg back, other leg forward, and then do another 10 rotations. It's nice to see some blue skies on the screen. Good, well done. And then again, change sides. 10 more on each side. Off you go. So with this second set, if you feel you can increase your range of movement a little bit, push your arms through a bit more, reach back a bit more, then go for it. And again, we're doing 10 on each side. And then change. Well done. Hang on, to come in. No, we're good. And when you've done your 10, onto all fours, hands underneath your shoulders, knees under your hips, and we're going to move into some cat to cow. So that's arching up your back and then dipping. Just trying to get as much movement through your spine as you can. Good. About 30 seconds for these, and then keep your back still, hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips, keeping your hips as level as possible. Alternate leg extension, so go really slowly. Slowly get your leg behind you, foot to about bum height. And when your leg's extended, really, really extend it. So imagine you've got rope attached to your ankles and your legs being pulled away from your body. Keep your core braced as well. Keep going. 10 more seconds. And then roll onto your side. You're going to lie all the way on your side, head in your hand, lower leg bent. Just to give you a bit more support, top leg straight, and then raise your top leg up and down. Well done. So keep this quite steady, and you don't have to lift your leg to full extension. You should start feeling this in the side of your bum pretty quickly. Well done. And then roll over, other side. Well done. So this leg bent underneath you should keep your top hip quite stable, but just try and stop your top leg from rolling back and forward. Last few seconds. And then roll onto your back. Head up in your hands, core braced, and kick a straight leg up and down. Lovely, well done. If your hamstrings are a bit tight, just limit your range of movement to start off with and just work on increasing it as the time goes by. And then change sides. Can you hear my knees cracking, Maddie? It's so loud. At least it doesn't hurt anymore. Good, keep going. 2 more kicks. And then both feet to the floor. Put your head in your hands and bring your elbows apart. I'm going to go and actually see better. So I've got my back of my head resting on my hands, elbows apart and pushed into the ground, and do your back rolls like that. So each time you roll your knees to the side, really work on pushing your arms onto the floor. Don't let your elbows come off the floor. It might limit your range of movement a little bit with how far you can get your knees over to the ground. And try and keep your feet and your knees tight together as well. That will get the most out of the mobilization of your sort of mid-back to the side. Well done. Keep going. Do a few more rolls to each side. That, and done. Right, we've got an activation set now. Each set of exercises, basically we do 2 exercises, which I'll demonstrate. Watch me demonstrate them, and then we'll do them. So the first 2, you don't really need much demonstration. It's bridge with a roll down, and then alternate arm and leg extensions. So for the bridge, arms out by your side, unless you want to make it a bit more challenging, in which case you can have your arms up above your shoulders. Feet fairly close towards your bum, so you should be able to reach around and touch your heels easily. Hips pushed up nice and high, and then slowly roll your back to the ground. As soon as your bum hits the floor, push up again. And then alternate arm and leg extensions, being really careful to keep your shoulders directly over your hands, your knees under your hips, keeping your tummy pulled up towards your spine all the time, and just slowly extending arm and leg. So we're doing 45 seconds for each exercise, twice through. Start with the bridge, so on your back. I'm going to get an easier to look at stopwatch going. All right, off you go. So bridge with a roll down. This should feel nice and easy. These first 2 exercises should feel quite gentle. There we go. Perfect, well done. So as I said, if you want to make it more challenging, arms up above your shoulders, that will just give you a little bit of instability through your hips that you have to work to stop. Now I must just apologise for my lisp this morning. I've got knee braces and they're horrible. They've really moved my teeth in the last couple of days and I can't speak properly, which is fun. 5 seconds. Oh God. And then straight over onto your front and into alternate arm and leg extensions. Why have so many words got S's in them? 3, 2, 1, off you go. All of the exercises we're doing in this activation set should be slow and steady. You're going for quality, not quantity. So when you're doing this arm and leg extension, you'll definitely feel your hips moving from side to side as you extend. You want to try and limit that movement as much as possible. Keep your tummy pulled up to your spine. Try and keep your hips level. Imagine you've got a cup of coffee bounced across your lower back. 3, 2, 1. Back onto your back. Repeat the bridge. Try it with your arms raised. If you feel that's making your hips dip a lot from side to side, then you can put your arms back to the floor. Well done. So the pushing up phase is a lot quicker than the lowering down phase. So I'm pushing up in the count of 1 and lowering down over 2, 3. Good. Last few seconds. And then roll over, alternate arm and leg extensions. So as soon as you're set, off you go. Good. Keep going. Nice, well done. Last few seconds. And done. Fab. Right, next 2 exercises. So rest while I demonstrate. First one is a kickstand deadlift. You can do it with or without a weight. So if you want to hold a weight for this, just make sure it's not too heavy. It's an activation warm-up set, so you shouldn't be lifting heavy weights at this point. 1 foot forward, other leg back. I've only got about 8 inches between my heel and my toe, resting on the toes of my back foot. Shoulders back and activated. So I've got my shoulders pulled back, core braced, and then just hinge forward and stand up. So almost like a crouching movement, so I'm bending my back leg more than I'm moving my front leg. 30 seconds on each side for that one, and then a marching bridge. So this can catch lower backs. If the lower back's a bit tight, this might catch. If so, just do a normal bridge. Don't do the marching bridge. But marching bridge, arms down by your side, push your hips up, brace core, and bring one leg up at a time, nice and gently. So it's a slow movement up and down. And what you're watching for is that your hips rock from side to side. If that happens and you can't control it, just do a normal bridge. So it's 30 seconds on each side for the kickstand deadlift, and then 45 seconds for the marching bridge. And we'll go through twice again. Right, let's go. Kickstand deadlift first of all. Off you go. So the thing to be really careful about is that your shoulders don't go any lower than your hips, because if that happens, you'll start to round your back and use your lower back. And this will feel different in each leg. You may feel it more in your front leg than your back leg. And by leg, I mean in your bum of your front leg. Well done, keep going. Just think about keeping your shoulders pulled back all the time. Imagine you've got a tennis ball between your shoulder blades and you're trying to keep it squeezed in there. Good, change sides. Off you go. Well done. Keep going. One more. Good, and then down onto the floor, into marching bridge. So on your back, arms down by the side. And go as soon as you're ready. Hips nice and high, rolling your back down. No, that's not what I want to do at all. I'm complete. It's marching bridge. Oh dear. I've stopped drinking on a Friday night. Honestly, it's ruinous. For all those of you that actually listened to them doing marching bridge and I was doing something else, congratulations. Well done. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Up you get. Kickstand deadlift again. So if you didn't use a weight for the first one and you want to for this one, just make sure it's not very heavy. So a kettlebell is probably the best thing for this if you've got one. All right, 3, 2, 1, off you go. So if you are holding a weight in both hands, that will drag your shoulders forward a bit. Try and resist it. Keep your shoulders pulled back. Look at you. Well done, good. Perfect. And if you can see yourself in your camera, just make sure you're not bending over too far. Paul, have you got a marrow this morning? Is that the same one? It's ripening up beautifully. That's hilarious. Change sides. Do we get to see what you're going to cook them and make them into eventually as well? I'm not a big fan of a marrow, I have to say. Off you go. Lovely, well done. Good, nice technique, well done. Last few seconds. Good, and then down onto the floor, into marching bridge. I've remembered it this time. So hips up, core braced, off you go. Lovely, well done. Keep the movement nice and slow and steady. Don't let your hips dip from side to side, try and keep them quite high. Well done. Last few seconds. 2, 1, good, and done. Up you get. So the next 2 exercises, you're going to need a band for one of them. So the first one is a crouching step back. So you know the step back movement pretty well, but I want you to really think about crouching as much as you can. So before you start to move, you're really down. You see how low I am? So in that position, before I start moving anything, I can feel my quads having to work to brace me in that position. And you're going to do your step back from there. So normally a step back, you might really feel it in your bum and your hamstring, but for this one, I want you to think about feeling it a bit more in your quads. This is for your thighs, not your bum this time. It'll also help your core because you're balancing. So it's 30 seconds on each side for that one. The next one is a seated single arm row. So the easiest way to do it is to put the band over your feet, holding onto the like the loops. One arm stays straight, and you're just pulling with the other arm. So when you're doing the single arm row, it's quite easy to let your shoulders twist and move with the band. I want you to think about keeping your shoulders set and level. So when you're pulling, you're not twisting with it. So you get as much of the benefit in your upper back as possible. So we'll start with a crouching step back. No weight for this one, body weight's hard enough. Why is my computer frozen? Hang on a sec. Am I frozen for everybody? That's not very good. Can you see me?
You're frozen, Catherine.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why I'm frozen.
I can hear you fine though.
Okay. Oh, come on. Right, I don't know what's going on with that. My Wi-Fi is fine. Maybe it's Zoom, who knows? All right, if you can hear me okay, we'll keep going and it might just catch up. So start off with a crouching step back. So keep nice and low, keep your quads working and stepping forward and backwards in 30 seconds on each side. Off you go. I'm just going to play around with this while you do it. Absolutely no idea why I've frozen. How many more weeks again till we get back to normal? Let's try. Good, and then change sides. If it doesn't come back in a sec, I'm going to have to stop myself and start again, I think, because I don't know why it's frozen. All right, last few seconds and then seated rows. All right, seated rows, go into that. So you know what you're doing. You've got the seated rows and then you've got step backs and seated rows again. So if you can time yourselves, don't go anywhere. I'm going to end my Zoom meeting and pick it up again. Hopefully you should all not go anywhere. It should stay on. But do the seated rows, 30 seconds on each side, go back to the crouching step backs, go back to the seated rows. Hopefully by then I'm back.